Welcome to Deep Thought. It's tough letting go of the past. You know what? I was thinking about something. You ever see some people who make a lot of money? You might see some entertainer or especially some athlete. They came from a poor background and all of a sudden they get a lot of money. Or they could have really did well in school. Went to college, went to some type of graduate school, came out, made a lot of money. But there's a part of them still in the past. There's a part of them that no matter how successful they are, where they are, there's still a part of them that was shaped in maybe a negative environment. And you would think, well, wait a minute, they have money. They have all of this. But they still think, and consciously they say, look, I don't have to go through that anymore. It's good. But they still got that consciousness. It's still on their mind. Many people have trauma from something that happened in the past. Like no matter how successful they become, how different their life is, that trauma in the past is still there. It's tough. It's tough because I'm going to tell you something with trauma. Trauma affects you to the point it goes into your body. Like, okay, here's an example. Here's a basic example. Say you grew up in a rough neighborhood, like real rough, like one of those places you got to keep your head on a swivel, like literal, because something could happen, like one of those neighborhoods where someone could just be bopping along, having fun, and then a stray bullet catch them, or an intentional bullet, where someone, a young lady, she could just be bopping along and somebody might try to attack her. A young boy, he might get robbed or attacked and stuff. And it's real rough. But then, you know what? They might go to school or take an athletic route, an entertainment route, get to a point where they could live in a safest place. They might even be able to hire security. But their body still feels that tension, that trauma. And in fact, some little things can trigger it. But you say, wait a minute, how are they doing that? They don't live in that environment anymore. Yeah, but that environment lives in them. It's tough. Or like say there's a relationship situation. We see, look, just as an aside, you see a lot of trauma in that. Say there's a woman and she had several men in her past, maybe even part of her imprint, where they were physically abusive or emotionally abusive. All right, she gets out of that, probably gets some therapy, everything. She gets a good man. But her reaction to that man is still the same reaction she had to those abusive men, even if this man is just the total opposite. She's still thinking the way she did when she dealt with it, even her reaction to him, like or how she coped. Because, okay, say she had those abusive men, but then she cheated with a guy who actually treated her well. And she actually got used to doing that. She dealt with the abusive man in general public and put up with a lot of crap, but then cheat with somebody total opposite. All right, but things are reversed. She ain't in that situation. She got the good man from the start. But those abusive men are still there. There's many situations where that woman might not even want to deal with that guy for the long term or find problems with him because he ain't going to smack her or abuse her. She's still in the past. She still got that reaction. And the same thing could happen to men, too. Men, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize it. The exact same thing. I just switched genders. It could be the same thing. Say a man deals with a woman who was emotionally abusive or mistreated him. He get a good woman. Here's a good one. Say he always dealt with women who always argue with him, put him down, and he argued back. All of a sudden, he get that woman who does none of that. She's very cooperative. But he is still in the past. That's a lot of people. Seriously, that's a lot of people. Because it's tough. Even if you consciously do it, it's in your body. It's in that pain. That pain is actually in your body. I'm going to tell you what, a lot of physical ailments, a lot of pain that people go through is in their body. A lot of times when people are sick, and I'm serious on this. It's tough because it's more in a holistic terms that people even look at this. But when someone is sick, I would always say this. Just test it out for yourself. Test it out for yourself. Because it hasn't been approved by the medical establishment because, well, quite frankly, they would lose money. They can't give you all those expensive pills and everything, you know? Even some therapists might not heal you. They want you to come back. They got to pay for their Mercedes. So think about it. What if, people say, okay, you have this problem. What's going on with you emotionally? Like in indigenous cultures, wherever somebody had a sickness, they'll look at the spiritual reasons. And when I say spirit, that's not necessarily mean they're going to go into some trance or something. Yeah, they'll go into a trance, but it's more like, okay, what's going on with this person? Like, I use the example high blood pressure. That comes a lot from stress and what people are eating. It's not really genetic. People say it's genetic, but it's more like several generations been eating the same food and going through the same general stress. Many people have gotten better, and I've actually seen this. I've known scores of people who've gotten better because they just changed their mindset about something. They actually let go of the past. But it's tough too. It's tough because, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know how you're going to look at it. What's happened in your past shapes who you are now. It might have shaped you becoming a successful person. It might have shaped you treating people a certain way and looking at stuff a certain way. So, on one level, it's not bad, but then if you change that, how does that affect your present? What if you're an attorney, the thing that drives you to always defend indigent people, poor people to prevent people from getting not kicked out of their places was the trauma you went through getting kicked out. And you still got it. You're still trying to solve that problem, solve that issue. Man, it's tough. It's tough. Like some people will just casually tell you to let go of the past. Shit, that's tough. I've had people tell me that. I would say this. This is what Rom would say. I'll say letting go of the past is tough because it's a part of who you are. I would just say learn from it. And if necessary, forgive the people, forgive yourself. Learn is part of it, but then try to find the lesson in it. Don't, and then gradually kind of let it go. See the positive parts of what happened and everything. Like, I'll use myself for an example. People who follow my channels know I always talk about sovereignty and control. But that's because there was a point in my life, I'm in a situation where I didn't have any control. So I was just like, yeah, it was a bad thing. And somebody say, oh, just let it go. But then something good came out of it. But I haven't let it go, per se. It would be tough to let it go. In fact, even trying to suppress something can be a problem. I just learned from it. I got the lesson out of it. Exercise some control. Be in a position of sovereignty. It's like, because you can't really get rid of it. Because even when you try to get rid of it, it'll pop back up. So I'm just like, something to think about. It really is tough. I would just, like I said, my suggestion is to learn from it, see the positive in it, and then apply the positive. And even some of the bad stuff, learn the lesson of not putting yourself in a position where it could happen again. And protecting those around you, especially if something like some molestation or something happened when you were a child. Protecting the people, the children around you, because then you can spot it. Because let me just say this last thing. The thing that true healers, they're able to heal because they went through something. They learned a lesson, and then they can turn around and heal other people going through because they've already gone through it themselves. All right? Because even if you're not a healer, it's tough to let go of the past. It really is. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.